Dear colleagues, the world is fighting with COVID-19. Humanity is seeking for ways to go back to normality, and vaccination is considered to be the essential way to reach this goal. My country, Azerbaijan, has responded to the crisis very quickly and is tackling it very well. Today's discussion on COVID passports is very timely and important. In my humble opinion, introduction of COVID passports should pass through heavy and tough scrutiny, as it is almost certain to have very serious implications well beyond COVID pandemic as such. I want to remind you that a very normal thing for us today, a travel document, a passport and a visa, were rare just a century ago. People did not have to carry around passports to travel as much they do now, less so with visas. During the World War I, many countries introduced passport and visas as a temporary security measure. It is necessary against spies, they were saying. It is the only way to keep people safe, they were saying. Years passed, and by 20th century, we came not only to passports and visas, we came to Iron Curtain and Cold War. In USSR, where I was born, in order to travel outside, Soviet citizens did not only need a passport, they also needed an entry visa and an exit visa. These temporary passport and visas that were introduced for good became part of our lives. Now let's go back to COVID passports. These days, we hear too much from bureaucrats that COVID passports are necessary, unavoidable, and are meant for our safety only. I hear very little that they are temporary, and we should probably thank our bureaucrats for being relatively honest with us about it. We are being poked, incentivized, and marketed into getting COVID passports. Introduction of COVID passports without actual need and reasonable justification, without careful consideration and balancing of medical and human rights issues, is not a good step. COVID passports are presented as an unfortunate but necessary measure. Do we have enough rational dialogue about it? Dear colleagues, we here in Council of Europe are not epidemiologists. We are not in a position to judge which measure is more efficient in terms of tackling epidemic. I'm quite confident that a piece of paper or electronic certificate is not in top list of such measures. I assume that efficient therapies, educating about correct behavior in times of pandemic are much more important and efficient in tackling the illness. But yet we talk about COVID passports because they seem like a bureaucratically convenient tool. Just like visas and passports 100 years ago, which hardly stopped any spies and saboteurs, but curtailed rights of many people decades to come. COVID passes are issued based on the fact of vaccination, not on the fact of level of antibodies, which is the best scientific ground for measuring person's safety for people around. COVID passports definitely have downsides, and we still are to understand their upsides and in an open and honest discussion. Dear colleagues, we here in Council of Europe are parliamentarians, and we have to consider this issue through the angle of human rights. Thank you. I'm thanking the rapporteur.